Before I get into the review of this film proper, I wanted to take a quick moment to promote something that I thought you guys should check out. I don't want to spend too much time self-promoting, but I just thought you guys might like to hear about it. Recently, I got the opportunity to voice act in a short animated film at my college, which I just graduated from, and I thought I would let you guys know so that you guys can check it out. It is this film right here called Red Maze. It was filmed and directed and created by my good friend Marcus. I play the main character who you see on the front of this poster, and it was so much fun getting to be part of this film. Doing voice acting was something that I dreamed of doing ever since I was a kid, so being able to do it for this was awesome, and the animation faculty at our school ended up awarding it as best film of the senior animation showcase, which was awesome. I'm so thankful that Marcus gave me an opportunity to be in this. It turned out fantastic and he worked so hard on it. I'm gonna have a link to the Vimeo where the film is up in the description, so go check it out and go show Marcus all your love. He did an amazing job with this film. It was so fun getting to be a part of it, getting to voice act in it. Go check it out. Marcus did an amazing job. Now on to the topic of this video. Welcome back to another unscripted film review. It's been a really long time since I've done one of these for very obvious reasons. The COVID pandemic obviously closed down movie theaters, so naturally there hasn't been much to see. However, this film was one that I was excited to see when it was going to be in theaters, and I decided to check it out, so it looks like you guys are going to be getting a film review for the first time in a while, so that's fun. Either way, the film we'll be talking about today is the new Warner Brothers animated film, Scoob. This is the somewhat long-awaited, much discussed Scooby-Doo animated feature film. This is a movie I've kind of been keeping up with for a while. I think I first heard about it around 2014, 2015, and I was looking forward to it when I heard it was going to be a fully animated film and not a live-action CGI hybrid like the original films were. I remember seeing the trailers and thinking, wow, this actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it. I might not be the most hardcore Scooby-Doo fan, but I did grow up watching Scooby-Doo as well as some of the other Scooby-Doo shows like What's New Scooby-Doo and A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. So I was interested in checking out the film, especially after seeing so many trailers of it when I would go to the theater this year. As I mentioned, the film was originally going to be released in theaters, but obviously because of COVID, theaters closed down and a number of films have been delayed and production has been delayed. This was one of those films, however, it seems Warner decided instead of letting it sit around and letting it wait for theaters to reopen, just release it as a video on demand thing so that people could check it out at their homes. I was interested in checking this film out. I was anticipating it quite a bit, and after watching it for myself, what was my experience like with it? Well, it was kind of mixed. Just for a basic rundown of the plot, Scoob is like a somewhat origin story of Mystery Incorporated. Not completely, because the origin is kind of like the first 10 minutes or so, but basically the movie talks a little bit about how Scooby, Shaggy, and the rest of the mystery gang, Fred, Velma, and Daphne, get together and begin solving crimes and becoming Mystery Incorporated. But towards the beginning of the film, it turns out that Simon Cowell, of all people, wants to make a deal with Mystery Inc., but one that excludes Scooby and Shaggy because these two are the weakest links of the group. In their sulking, they end up getting sucked up into a ship that houses Blue Falcon, another Hanna-Barbera character, more on that in a little bit, where they are thrust into this journey where they have to stop another Hanna-Barbera character in Dick Dastardly and his faithful companion Muttley, who is stuck in the underworld, in a journey to show that they are not just dead weight on the team and that they have importance. That's about the best way that I can sum up the story. The reason that I mentioned characters like Blue Falcon, Dick Dastardly, and Muttley is because this film is supposedly the first in what is going to be a shared cinematic universe for Hanna-Barbera, because you know everything today has to be a shared universe. Does it succeed? A little more on that in a bit, but what I will say is the one thing that does succeed about this film is the animation. When I first saw the trailers, I liked the animation, but I was a little bit skeptical, but fortunately, it was great. It was clever, colorful, it was very unique, and I think that they managed to translate the film to CGI very well. That was a bit of a concern of mine when I'd first heard about the film, but they managed to do it pretty well here. There are so many clever moments that are just beautifully animated, and if nothing else, it's just great to look at. And a lot of people know this, but Scooby-Doo is a humorous franchise. It's known for being comedic, and there are some comedic moments in this film that I think land pretty well. A few moments got to me and made me laugh because there were jokes about Fred being an American man. There was a joke about toxic masculinity, empaths, millennials. It's something where the movie is modernizing Scooby-Doo while still keeping it faithful to the original series, and it does a good job at it for the most part. At least in terms of staying faithful. This does feel like it should appeal to people who are very big fans of Scooby-Doo. And again, some of the jokes that I mentioned are good for a millennial kind of crowd or a Gen Z crowd like me who understand a bit of this stuff. Without giving any spoilers, there's also some good emotional moments that land. I think that the later acts of the film do help in that regard. And it's something where I could tell that there were hearts in the right place while making the film. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of disappointment to go around with this film. For starters, operating under the idea that this was going to be a theatrical film, because even though it was released straight to video, it was going to be theatrical. I can genuinely say that at parts of this movie, Scoob reads as a theatrical film with some direct-to-video storytelling. A lot of the plot elements are things that I kinda saw coming from a mile away. Sometimes the dialogue feels like it's just too heavy-handed and it just feels like it gives you way too much stuff. And while there are some clever jokes that I did like, equally there are just as many jokes that make me go, in the attempt to modernize the film, there are a number of moments and a number of jokes that I think immediately date the movie and try to play a little bit too hard into the young generation by making jokes about social media, referencing memes like "Are you not entertained?" in ways that can feel rather cringy. And I'd like to think that my biggest problem with this movie is the one thing that I have been mentioning just a little bit, the whole shared cinematic universe thing. This movie falls right into the trap of it. In a lot of ways, I felt while watching this movie like I wasn't exactly watching a Scooby-Doo film. There was a little too much universe building to the point where it kind of just read to me as, yeah, they're really just trying to build a shared cinematic universe. Almost like it was less like a mystery-themed Scooby-Doo movie and more just like a superhero movie with a Scooby-Doo coat of paint. And disappointingly, the film also plays into one of the big problems that I tend to have with a number of cartoon to film adaptations, in that it kind of just feels like an extended episode of the TV show. Maybe the world building makes it feel more like an extended crossover episode, but even still, it's something that I feel could have easily gotten its point across in a 20-minute episode as opposed to an hour-and-a-half long film. It's a movie that means well, and I know that it wants to appeal to Scooby-Doo fans, and I'm sure many will enjoy it. But I think it is a disappointing film in a number of regards, mostly because some of the writing just feels a bit weak, like it was destined to be direct-to-video before the pandemic forced it to be. For as many haha jokes as there are just as many cringy jokes. And again, much like many films that try to build a shared universe, it focuses so much on world building and trying to throw as much at you that it kind of loses the point a little bit. What lifts the film, like I said, is the cleverness of the animation, those occasionally goofy jokes that do work, and some of the emotional moments that are in the film. And I think those kind of things could work well if you have a family to watch this with. In general, I feel like it's a film that just lands best with families. That said, I will point out that it costs 20 bucks to rent, and unfortunately, I think that is a bit too pricey. Given the quality of the film, I would honestly wait until it drops to about 5 to 10 bucks to rent it, unless you are a hard and fast Scooby-Doo fan that loves everything Scooby-Doo and has to see it, or you're just a parent who's annoyed by your damn kids because quarantine has been so long and you need to shut them up for an hour and a half. That advice is free, and you're welcome. Yeah, I can honestly say that this left me a bit disappointed. It wasn't bad. There were several things that I enjoyed about it, but just as much there were a number of things that I did not enjoy about it. And I would say it's only really worth your time, like I said, if you are a hardened Scooby-Doo fan, or your family just needs some way to spend an hour and a half. And even then, I would say just wait until a price drop and give it a rental. Overall, on my rating scale, I am gonna say that Scoob is gonna get an okay rating from me. It's not bad. It is entertaining at points, but all in all, I could say it's disappointing. I still hope that the Hanna-Barbera shared cinematic universe goes off without a hitch once it continues, although I just hope that future films in this shared universe do it a little bit better in regards to the writing and the storytelling. But that's just my opinion on this film. What did you guys think about it? Did you love it way more than I did? Did it appeal to the Scooby fan inside of you? Did you think it was a train wreck that belonged as a direct-to-video film? And given that the Hanna-Barbera shared cinematic universe is a thing, what is the next film that you guys want to see in it? Because it seems like it hasn't been confirmed what the next movie is, but I want to know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Let's keep this civil and have some fun as we like to do. If you guys want to hit like and subscribe, thank you. If not, it's no big deal. I am totally fine with it. In terms of what's next, given what's going on with the world, I have no idea what film I could review next. It's really going to come down to when theaters actually reopen and when new films come out. Although, I have heard several good things about the Willoughbys, and I have been wanting to check that out, so I'm not making any promises, but don't be surprised surprised if a Willoughby's review ends up on this channel sometime in the next week or two. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.